All right, so we looked at our FMEA table in the past video, and we kind of separated the ideas we had so far in the simple risk table. We separated them into the three columns: hazard, hazardous situation, and harm. We made some estimations of probabilities along the way, and finally made an assessment based on our risk acceptance matrix, whether something is actually acceptable or not. So we came up with two different things which were not acceptable, and one thing which actually didn't lead to any harm. But now we actually stumbled across something. We stumbled across this IT security problem thing, because that by itself doesn't sound like a hazard. Like, why do I, as a user, care if there's an IT security problem, or if the backend gets hacked? That by itself isn't even a real hazard yet. Maybe you don't really agree with me, but when you see where we're going, maybe you will agree with me. So the FMEA knows something called failure modes, and that's actually a very software-centric way of looking at risks. So there you actually look at your software, and well, strictly speaking, you would be looking at each software component and writing down the risks, what could go wrong in this component, really on a technical or even on a code level. And for me, one of those things could be we have crappy IT security and we get hacked. That's a potential failure mode, because that hack could lead to other things. It could lead to hazards and hazardous situations, all that stuff. So let's actually write that down. Okay, so we were in our simple risk table. We had this IT security problem, backend gets hacked, and test output for user gets changed. Okay, so I created this failure mode table, and it's dead simple. Like, if you had multiple software systems, you could actually use this column and enter different stuff in there. For now, and to simplify things, we're really assuming the app runs completely only on the client device, so on the smartphone, and there's no backend involved. But well, you could make this more complex. Let's just not do it. Okay. And let's add this as a failure mode, and let's maybe make it more technical, maybe, because these are actually two things, right? So I think there are two different things going on here. The backend gets hacked. Okay, that's one thing which could lead to multiple things. And the test output of a user gets changed. Okay, but that could also be caused by lots of other stuff, like if we have a software bug, for example. So let's focus on the test output thing for now. So you have the failure mode, and you could maybe say it gets changed. And why does it get changed? I mean, you don't know right now, right? We don't know how our software is going to fail in the next 5 years, but we could come up with ideas, for example, due to data corruption, whatever data corruption is, faulty database or so. I mean, this is grasping for straws, but okay. Due to data corruption, or even just a bug in your calculation, right? Bug in calculation. And as we mentioned earlier, IT security breach, someone alters the value with malicious intent, and so on and so on. So let's add this as example, e.g. Okay, so that's a potential failure mode. And maybe you have another failure mode, which is APIs. So I'm talking about data privacy stuff. For example, you notice, oh, by the way, Clubhouse recently, just a few days ago, Clubhouse was this audio app which discriminates against Android users because it's only on iOS for talking to people, even though that already has been invented. But so Clubhouse had this interesting situation where you can essentially ping or look up their public APIs and just download all user profiles. And then they say yeah, this is public information, but well, I don't know. You could argue for a long time about that. And applying that to our software is okay, we could have a bad, let's say, IT security or authentication setting, which allows other people just to download all data, even though maybe it's personal data and private data. So failure mode here would be maybe faulty faulty, I don't know, faulty firewall settings, or like vulnerability in operating system, right? And not like Clubhouse just like coding it that way. Oh, Firebase, sorry, firewall. Firebase is something slightly different. Vulnerability in operating system, and that's like, and then you could say like, yeah, private data becomes publicly accessible, e.g. due to, and then this stuff, right? So that's like a potential failure mode. And maybe you could also say like, okay, now we've been thinking a lot about what the consequences could be, right? Because like we were thinking about the test output and we were thinking about data privacy breaches. But let's just maybe say, let's get more on a technical level in the sense of how this should actually be done. And how this should actually be done is like you sit down with one of your developers, they walk you through maybe not the code, but like the general architecture of things. And then you ask them what could go wrong in any instance. And then maybe they would show you like the user interface and you would say like, okay, and they would say like, yeah, we don't know how well this is being displayed on tablets. And then you would be like, that's a potential failure mode, right? Because maybe if something doesn't get displayed properly in your app, you're actually back in this hazards table, right? You're in a hazards table, like user misunderstands UI output of the result because maybe they're using the tablet and the result just isn't displayed correctly there. So you could say failure mode is like maybe untested tablet device is used and UI layout, or which leads to UI layout being displayed incorrectly. Okay, so I'm thinking about stuff like these crappy websites. Some of the websites on the internet, if you surf them with a small phone, the layout is just like all screwed up and you can't see the information properly. So I'm talking about that. So maybe the app is optimized for phones, but it actually would run on tablets. And if you open it in a tablet, then stuff would be like all over the place. Like buttons would be in the wrong areas and that sort of stuff. So that's like a potential failure mode. And maybe something like more technical, maybe the developer would be like, yeah, when the app launches, you need an internet connection because it has to like connect to the super secure machine learning server, which assesses images of the patient's face for whether they have COVID. So in this case, we would have a separate software system, which is the machine learning server. But let's not care about that for now. Here, the failure mode would be, okay, internet connection is not available, and that's why the app crashes. So internet connection, app crashes when internet connection is not available. And then you could even say like, e.g., like due to like no Wi-Fi and cellular reception, or being in airplane mode, or whatever. Like this, you can come up with scenarios where there's no internet connection, right? Okay, so I think learning by example here actually helps a lot. So let's just like maybe add one more example if I can come up with one. So what else could you do? Like, oh, I have a good one. So especially with like Android, your application could run on all sorts of devices, right? There are a ton of different Android smartphones out there compared to iPhones, where you pretty much know what sort of iPhones are on the market because you, I don't know, go to the Apple website and you see all the iPhones which are there, and you can test all of them in your development environment for iOS applications. But for Android, that's the case. Like you could, especially in developing countries, you have probably all sorts of crazy budget cheap phones which maybe have way less features than our phones here in good old Germany. So where I'm hinting is, where I'm going here is, you have, maybe you have a crappy camera, and our Magic COVID application relies on taking a picture of someone, and then it says like that person is COVID or not. But what happens if the camera has like, I don't know, 2 megapixels instead of 20? And maybe then the resolution of the picture is not good enough, but you wouldn't notice that because the picture just gets tested whether there's COVID in the face, and then we would be in the FMEA hazards table, where we would have our wrong COVID diagnosis, which is false positive or false negative. So the failure mode here would be camera with low resolution is used, but that's more like the cause, right? So the failure mode would be like COVID assessment gets calculated on distorted image or image of mediocre or subpar quality, e.g. due to low resolution camera being used. Or you could even say other things like, image processing bug, data corruption, all that stuff, like anything which could lead to like a crappy image entering your software. And again, you could also like this is like already complex things we're talking about. You could just, I mean, there's also just so much simple stuff you could write here. Just like you could just like say like bug in COVID prediction algorithm. Like that's a solid failure mode. And as you're going with a developer through all different parts of the software, you could really like come up with bug for everything, right? Like bug in image acquisition, code, like the code which takes a picture, patient's face. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. Like you can go through this on different levels. Like, and 6 and 7 here were rather lower levels in the sense of like, yeah, I look at all these different parts in the code, and I look like there could be a bug in any of those. Okay, those are like good failure modes. Maybe you would have to specify what happens next, but that's okay. The other things we looked at here were like more complex, but they were also like on a technical level. For example, really like the app crashes. You could even just have like a general failure mode of like app crashes in general, right? Like you could even say like app crashes, e.g., then you have like 2 e.g.s, or when the internet connection is not available, but it could also crash because, I don't know, you wrote crappy code. And I hope you get the idea. This is what could go wrong again on a technical, on a code level, or kind of like on a device level. And none of these things really lead to or have any direct patient impact yet, but soon. So and this is where the hazard ID column comes into play. So now you have something which happens here on the left side, and it actually leads to something, right? So the test output for user gets changed, e.g. due to data corruption. So test output gets changed. Okay, do we have that hazard covered? I mean, that would mean the diagnosis is wrong, right? So and wrong is false positive or false negative. So yes, it leads to 1 or 2. We don't know. We don't know how the test output will be changed, but we know it will be one of these 2, probably. So hazard IDs is 1 and 2. Let's also reformat this column as plain text, as otherwise really bad things happen. Okay, next thing, private data becomes publicly accessible. Do we have that hazard? No, we really don't. Hazard would be like, yeah, this is kind of like a bit redundant, but I would say like this is like leak of personal data. Ultimately, it leads to the harm could be like psychological stress due to like data privacy, due to personal data being available publicly. Okay, so this is my COVID information this is my COVID information being leaked publicly, and then I don't know, a newspaper could write like, oh my god, Oliver has COVID, and like that's totally crazy. And what's the hazardous situation? I don't know, like personal data. I don't know, you come up with something here. Like we don't have to talk about this. We talked about this enough already. So we wrote a hazard for this, and the hazard is number 4. And again, you would have to assess this probability and severity, whether it's acceptable or not. Like, I mean, spoiler alert, I think this is acceptable because like COVID data isn't like super sensitive data in my opinion. Even if a celebrity has COVID, I mean, literally we know of celebrities who have COVID, and it's like not like that they feel crappy due to that. I mean, they don't feel crappy due to their data being leaked. They probably feel crappy because they have COVID. Okay, and how about this? Untested. So this is about the layout being displayed incorrectly. It could be this hazard, right? Like it's essentially user misunderstands input of output of result, or like UI is confusing or incorrect. Like change this hazard a bit, and then that's the valid hazard for me, right? So you're using a tablet. Tablet leads to the UI layout being displayed incorrectly, and that leads to the user not understanding it or even not seeing it, and then the user may be thinking they have the wrong COVID diagnosis. You could argue in another way here where you say like, okay, if the UI doesn't display anything, then maybe this is a different hazard, because then essentially nothing happens, because maybe it's a blank white screen, and the user would be like, this app sucks, but the user wouldn't be thinking they have wrong COVID diagnosis. Okay, you could come up with stuff like this, and we actually we could, right? So you could say hazard is like no COVID diagnosis. I mean that's a fair hazard, and then I would say like there's no hazardous situation. Like, and I think we cover this in the simple risk table. Yeah, no diagnosis at all, none. Oh, wrong cell. And all right, and then we can gray this out, right? So now we have. Oh, that's a bit dark. Now we have this situation where a user doesn't get a COVID diagnosis, and I don't know, whatever, it's like 100%. The patient gets some other treatment. That's not really a harm. So we can say we analyze this. App crashes leads to hazard ID 5. So again, the app crashes. I, as a patient, I'm like, this app is crap. I don't have a COVID diagnosis. What happens next? Like, yeah, I'd probably go to the GP or do whatever I wanted to do. Okay, you get the idea. I don't think we have to do the remaining 3. This video is already long enough. You can do the remaining 3 if you really want, probably not. And next, we're actually going to circle back to these 2 risks which weren't acceptable and see what we can do about those. But I hope in the meantime, you've understood the whole failure mode thing, and you could maybe sit down with a software developer, or you're even a software developer yourself, and you could write down the failure modes for your application. All right, then see you in the next video.